Alright guys, today we're going to talk about audio, the Audius token, how Audius works, because I really think that this crypto project is going to be the killer of both Spotify and Apple Music. This is the token that is really going to make millionaires and claim the title of king in the NFT music industry. Before we get started into the video, a full disclaimer, I am a hodler of Audius's audio token. And everything that I'm going to talk about today is really to inform you of what Audius is really about. Basically, I read the entire white paper, which I haven't done in a while, so that you don't have to, though I really suggest you should, because that is a part of doing your own due diligence, because that's the disclaimer that I always make. If you're investing in crypto projects, you have to go do your own due diligence, do your own research, and not just depend on the opinions or research of some YouTuber, because they might have a motive behind their video. With that disclaimer said, let's imagine how many apps you use. Let's say TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Now, what do they all have? They all have music in them. That means that they use other people's music for those videos, right? And you might not know it, but when you listen to those music, someone gets paid because it's copyrighted, right? But does the artist get paid? Not really. They get paid pennies compared to what they actually should earn. And most of the lion's share of what they should earn goes to record labels and companies that hold the rights to the title, to the song, even though they didn't make it. Is that fair? No, that really isn't. And that's kind of part of the current problems that we have now. So here are the current problems. So we have music platforms and distributors that are making bank off content creators and artists. And really, the content creators and artists aren't really getting paid what they should be paid, right? So in 2017, actually $43 billion was made off the global music industry. And 12% of that was actually paid to artists and content creators. There's really no transparency when it comes to artist playouts. That means like how many times things are played, the location, how much was earned, fees, and etc. And the incomplete ownership of the right to a piece of music is what really keeps content creators and artists from being paid. And on top of that, we have lots of middlemen and payment systems in the middle that takes huge chunks of fees from the earnings. So what we really have are publishing rights that are really complicated and opaque. Remixes, covers, and other derivative content are censored due to rights management issues. And it's really the licensing that really prevents the content from reaching worldwide. So what we have is we have a bunch of starving artists that have sold a bunch of copies on Apple Music, and Apple Music came back and said that they only sold one copy, so they don't have to pay them the full price. On top of that, what's unfair is that they don't need to provide evidence for their sales. Now, I'm just totally exaggerating that. I don't know how Apple Music works, but that's the gist I'm trying to get it at. There's very no transparency, and artists don't know how much they should actually get paid versus what they do get paid. So how I found out about Audius is from IM Academy. You heard me talk about it before. It is where you can get drops of really subtle projects like Audius at a really nice time. So you basically get in ahead of the crowd, and you can find out more really in the description or the pinned comment below, or you can even sign up a free call with me and we can talk more about that using the calendar link below. So if you're curious about IM Academy, then please be sure to check out those links or set up a free call with me, and then we get to talk more about it. But what I really want to show you guys is we're on dashboard.audius.org, which really shows the statistics of what's happening on Audius right now. And right now we have 93 million API calls. That's a lot of calls. And 5 million unique users. When I was reading the white paper, I think they said they had 250,000. So that was, I think, 3 years ago or something like that. And from there to 5 million, that's big growth. 317 million active audio stake and an estimated annual reward rate of 22%. 22%, guys, that is crazy. So Audius is a project that I think is not going to go away anytime soon, actually. So in fact, like how Spotify replaced SoundCloud, I really think that Audius is going to replace both Spotify and SoundCloud and Apple Music and Google Play Music and any other music platform out there. Because what's happening is that if you go on their dashboard, their app, what you actually see is that people are actually using this. We have a bunch of really big players, big musicians that are getting on Audius. Disclosure, they're huge. Dylan Francis is a huge DJ. Oh, and on top of that, I think we also have, let's say, I think Miley Cyrus is also on here. So a lot of big artists are getting on Audius. And like I said, these are really subtle things that big artists, big musicians, big businessmen are doing that nobody in the world that are using, let's say, Spotify are even noticing. So once you get in, you're getting in ahead of the crowd. So let's talk about the Audius token model. You saw, as I was showing you the dashboard, you saw some audio tokens being staked. Now they are staked for sometimes exclusive features or services. They can also be used to delegate tokens to take a share in the growth of the platform and for the issuance of future tokens. Staking gives you more audio tokens and for the future potential of potential fees from seeding the protocol. So kind of like BitTorrent, where we have seeders and downloaders. What you're doing is you're kind of hosting the content, and for your job of doing that, for your service, they'll reward you with, let's say, fees, kind of like how Uniswap does it, right? If you are a LP, a liquidity provider, then you get fees from all the transactions that are made concerning that pair, right? So what they're doing here is they're also offering a fee model, which doesn't exist for a lot of other tokens that are staked. So on top of staking, getting rewards from staking, you're also going to get rewards from fees. That is insanely good. Oh, if all that didn't make sense to you, imagine this. If you ever traded stocks, which most of us probably have, and you've used Weibo, what you probably have to do is pay fees whenever you make a trade, right? So what if you were on that side where you held a Weibo share? Now, if you hold a Weibo share, you're not gonna pay the fees. But with Audius, you're gonna get paid the fees whenever someone makes a transaction and that transaction is listening to music. So when it comes to NFTs on Audius, NFT Music, what I see is the use of artist token, which are basically tokens that are from Audius that artists can deliver. Artists can really distribute these unique tokens to their audience, to their fans, and gives them exclusive access. And once they distributed this token, they have to maintain what is called a bond using their audio tokens in order to keep using the platform. So it's like signing a contract to work this long, which I really think it's a life contract. So this will give holders of those artist tokens a peace of mind that the artists themselves have skin on the game and they won't pull out or do a rug pull. Alright guys, if you made it this far in the video, might as well stay till the end, because what I'm going to talk about next is the way to make passive income with Audius, and that is through the content node. But before we get to that, I just want to ask you this one favor. If you guys are getting any sort of value from this video, then can I please ask you to just smash that like and subscribe button. It's not going to cost you anything, it's free, but it really helps the YouTube algorithm catch a whiff of this video and push it out to more people who might be interested in the same opportunity and might be interested in crypto. And this video might be the way for them to get started with them, and you could help share that. You could help be the catalyst to these new people who might be interested in crypto but don't know where to start. But anyways, let's get into the content nodes. So content nodes, what would you say if I told you that you can easily become a competitor to Apple Music? You're gonna say, fascinating, right? But how much work do I have to do? Because that's what I'll ask. I'm gonna say that you're not gonna have to do much work. All of the work is probably done for you with Audius, and you can become a competitor to Apple Music. And after reading the white paper, I'm really thinking about running a content node myself. We can basically agree that musicians and artists aren't very technically capable because they have their own skill set, which is making music. But technology side, they're not so good at that. So when they upload music, what they want to do is just click a button that says upload to upload their music. But under the hood, somebody has to host that music, and that somebody right now is Apple Music or Spotify, right? With Audius, now they have an option. If a user uploads their content to Audius, that the host can be either you, your neighbor, anybody who's running a content node. So that if you are a content node and you're unreliable, you're unstable, then what they could do is they could switch to another content node, maybe ran by your neighbor. If he's also unreliable, then they could switch to someone else. So aside from Spotify and Apple Music, they also have you as an option now. Before Audius, this was not a thing. They wouldn't be able to get off of Apple Music or Spotify, right? So they had a monopoly. But with Audius, this changes the entire game. And another thing, these content nodes can enforce rules that are set by the artist. So let's say the artist had a couple of artist tokens and they only want hodlers of their artist tokens to be able to listen to the song. Well, they can tell the content node to enforce that rule, and that rule is set. Nowhere else is this possible right now. So what really allows Audius to really solve the current problems is with their content ledger. This content ledger is what allows them to track, let's say, the number of plays, the number of likes, who owns the track, and the revenue splits, because people can have revenue splits with the blockchain technology, right? So it is really this content ledger that really handles all interactions with the content and with audience, the likes, the follows, the playlist creations, the shares, and etc. So I really hope you got a taste of what Audius is really about, but let's talk about this. What is really the second longest living industry? And that has to be music, right? Because it's been with us since kind of the start of the human race when our caveman ancestors were banging rocks to make music. If you're wondering what the longest living industry is, then it starts with a P. Let me know in the comments below if you know what it is, because I think that word might be flagged by YouTube. But anyways, like the longest living industry, music is not gonna go anywhere. It is tied to humans. We need music. It is one of the best and longest lasting ways of expression for us, and humans need to express themselves as part of the human experience with us having emotions. But at the end of the day, I really think that if SoundCloud was eaten by Spotify, then we can be sure that Audius, who is already way ahead of the game with Web3, will be the one to eat up Spotify and Apple Music. Anyways, that's all I got for today, guys. I hope you learned something about Audius and maybe you can consider having it in your portfolio as well. But other than that, that's all I got. Please don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Check out these other videos on cryptocurrency and passive income. And remember, guys, continue working, continue building, and continue inspiring. See you next time.